In CELPIP speaking, there is one important technique you need to understand and start utilizing it right away. That is breathing. This one word will save you 3 to 4 points. I'll explain how. When you take a deep breath between sentences, what you're doing is pausing. Pausing is essential and missed by a lot of people. When you pause, you get marks for confidence and tone because you're showing the examiner you can pause between sentences. That's a sign of confidence in general as well, and it shows that you're not panicking. So that's your mark for tone. When you breathe and take a pause, you also help your emphasis and expressions because generally we breathe. In the exam, sometimes we get nervous and we don't. So it helps your expressions as well. Lastly, it helps your thinking and task response because whenever you breathe, that 1 second pause tells you what you have to say next. You get thinking time. Instead of you just saying ums, and that's another problem, you will use ums. So just breathe instead and you will save those fillers. Next thing you want to do is use adjectives, especially when you're describing things like in parts 3 and 4, when you're talking about the picture. Adjectives are qualities. So this person looks good, frustrated, angry, satisfied, etc. This is often missed by students. When we talk about the range of vocabulary, we just see nouns and verbs, but people need to be using adjectives to ensure you have a bigger range. So start using qualities, especially for pictures. At the same time, you want to make use of adverbs too. Adverbs are lees. Quickly, surprisingly, slowly. These talk about the verb in more detail, or they expand on the verb, which we learned in school, right? But we don't use them. So when we talk about people, use adjectives and adverbs. This person is increasingly adverb, getting frustrated. So that is an adjective. A combination of adverbs and adjectives, great. But at least using adverbs is important for your range. Now let's talk about expressions, because a major complaint by the examiner is people are robotic, and that's a major complaint by myself as well. Don't be robotic, be natural. It's an exam, but you have to pretend it's not. So with questions where you're talking to friends or family especially, use a natural tone. Don't talk like a robot or don't read like you're reading a transcript. Make sure to be natural and assume it's a real person you're talking to. Now let's move on to simple and complex sentences because this is a confusion. I believe we all know what simple sentences are. I'm not going to explain that. But complex sentences, guys, are sentences that start with a word that would help you break the sentence into 2 parts. For example, I'm going to use the word given that. Given that we are in the 21st century, comma, or in speaking pause, we need to make sure our thinking is adapted to this century. So we have 2 points, given that one clause and then the other clause. Let's try another example. Although we don't have a lot of resources with us right now, we aim to develop new ones in the next year. So you got 2 clauses here as well. Using 2 clauses helps you make a sentence complex, and you should try to use as many as possible. Now, don't just use them. Use a mixture of simple and complex sentences. An easy way to think about this is for 8 speaking tasks, use 8 complex sentences. 1 complex sentence per speaking task, and you should be good. That's enough, and the rest should be simple, and you're good with your mark for your range of vocab. So remember these important tips in CELPIP speaking for a good CLB score.